Let's go Alabama versus Tennessee. This one's not going to be long. Alabama smacked Tennessee 37-20. And I think, yeah, Quinn has it in the notes. Game-changing play was definitely the pick six to end the first half. I did not watch much of this game. Was just watching the ASU game. Um, but I did see that pick six, and I was like, okay, yeah, Alabama's in control. And for Tennessee, you're not going to really come back from that, especially if you're in Tuscaloosa, which, yeah, this Tennessee team has kind of cooled off a little bit. They were very hot starting off the season after getting some big wins. But, yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson just, again, still proving to be a very big Heisman candidate. And Ryan Williams definitely had a breakout game, which wasn't a breakout. This is what a game. If all the people who said Jeremiah was going to do what he was going to do this year, this should be an average game for Jeremiah for Ryan Williams. But for him this year, that's a breakout game. 5 receptions for 87 yards. That's sad, but Jeremy Bernard, leading rusher on the team as a wide receiver, he did have 5 receptions for 60 yards, but 4 carries for 50 yards. That's actually crazy. And yeah, before the game, Tennessee had the most sacks in the SEC, and then during the game, they had 0 sacks, which is absurd. Alabama's offensive line is crazy. I think they have a top 5 first-round pick. I don't remember
Caden
which
Proctor.
position. Yeah, he's a guard or tackle.
Offensive tackle,
Yeah,
wide
yeah.
receiver, fullback. He should be a kick returner.
Okay. But yeah, he's a dog, and I think he's gonna get drafted very high. And yeah, great win for Alabama. They just can keep continuing to keep elevating and elevating and elevating after that horrible Florida State loss that keeps looking worse and worse and worse. Not really for Alabama, because you're gonna lose in this game, and if you can lose week one, that's the one of the best scenarios that you can have, especially if you're Alabama, because they know how to turn their season around. And yeah, I think they could be 11-1 by the end of the season, and big win for them. But yeah, I'm starting to like this Alabama team more and more and more, and that's where it brings me back to the Florida State loss. That was really good for them, because while Florida State looks like horrible right now, if you can have a loss by the end of the season but not have any SEC losses, that is one of the best scenarios that you can be in. And Alabama right now is in a really good spot, especially after beating Georgia. So, yeah, if you're an Alabama fan, I'm happy right now. Quinn, what are your thoughts?
So the score was 37-20. If you just look at the score, you would think it was a pretty dominating game by Alabama, but it really wasn't. The stats were pretty much the same, pretty even. Alabama didn't do what they have been, where they dominate time of possession, dominate third down. Tennessee played a pretty good game, but the reason the score is as lopsided as it is because of the Zabian Brown 99-yard pick six to end the first half. Just literal terms, it was a 14-point swing. It went from Alabama being up 16-14 to them being up 23-7 at half. So 14-point swing right there. And not just that, it was a huge momentum swing. Tennessee did score in the first possession after the half, but really ever since then Alabama just started to roll. That's where they got their momentum, and they didn't look back ever since then. And just something to note, when some of these teams like Oklahoma, Texas, I'm trying to think of some others, just some teams that can't run the ball, really, they struggle a lot. And Alabama couldn't really run the ball at all this game. Jem Miller was out. Jeremy Bernard was the leading rusher. Jem Miller was out, so I'll give them some grace there. But they couldn't really run the ball all too well, and their offense still looked very functional. I think this is just a testament to how good Ty Simpson is. Another great game, 19 for 29, 253 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like JT said, Ryan Williams, I don't want to say breakout, but I mean, except for the Wisconsin game, this is probably the best game of the season. 5 receptions for 87 yards. Good bounce back after not touching the ball. Jeremy Bernard, definition of consistent, 5 receptions for 60 yards. So, if you're Alabama, like JT said, I think the Florida State loss, if you had to lose any game of the season, that would probably be the best one. One, it's not an SEC play. It won't hurt your chances of getting into the SEC championship. Two, it was a huge wake-up call because while that Florida State loss is aging pretty badly, Florida State doesn't look all too hot, this was just exactly what they needed just because the effort, the lack of intensity, they just weren't prepared mentally for this game. And ever since then, I know Kalen DeBoer lit them up. And I know Kalen DeBoer, he received a lot of criticism. I know he responded from that. And look what they did after that. 4 straight ranked wins. So Alabama, they're still in the national title picture. That Florida State loss is just way back. They don't even remember that anymore. This is the Alabama we were looking forward to and we're hoping to see. And this is what we get. Alabama, they're a great team still. And for Tennessee, their defense just might not be enough to get them into the playoffs. Their offense is fine with Nico Iamaleava. You could argue that Joey Aguilar in Tennessee has been playing better than Nico Iamaleava. He's been lighting it up at USC ever since the Penn State win. But their offense looks good with Chris Brazzell, but their defense is struggling. Jermon McCoy is still out. They just allow too many points, and I just think that's going to hurt their chances for getting into the playoffs. But great win for Alabama, to say the least.